to talk trash to me.
Who?
Nick's trying to talk trash to me about my lowly rated podcast. Saying trivia.
I tried to this morning give you some
This
not
guy's
so
taking
subtle,
shots at everybody.
I tried this morning to give you some not so subtle motivation in our little daily meeting. Like, hey man, you really try at this thing, you can make some money on it. And instead, every Wednesday, you're like to Gianna, like, today or should we roll it to tomorrow?
Gianna saves my podcast. I ramble and then Gianna just works her magic. Clock struck midnight and Sam Darnold did not turn into a pumpkin. Actually went Cinderella mode after throwing 2 picks and erasing a 16-point deficit to win in overtime. It depends where you live, where the clock struck midnight, okay?
Sure, yeah.
Darnold by drive last night. We're laughing at Ian's little...
Look at the bottom left corner of your screen,
little
America.
bug. Wham,
Those
bam.
little Easter eggs. First things first.
First 8 drives, he was not good, went pumpkin. Last 5 drives,
it's
8 for 12, 67%, 2 touchdowns, passer rating of 129, and 3 2-point conversions. That was good. Did Darnold change his narrative last night?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
No question about it. And all week I was saying what? Sam, prove me wrong.
That's true.
And he did. I said it at least twice, maybe 3 times on this
3
show.
times, yeah.
It didn't hurt him that I put him number 1 on the Bud list. I mean, I gave him a little help.
You said you believed in
And
it.
he delivered. And Nick, I think the way it happened is perfect. That's the perfect way to end this narrative about you. Okay.
A lucky 2-point conversion.
No. He started out terribly, obviously. 2 interceptions. The first 50 minutes, he was living down to the narrative.
Yes.
And everybody was like, here we go again. They're done. He's not a guy you can rely on in the playoffs or in big games. And the Seahawks season is basically, they're not going to make any noise. And here's the thing. He knew all that. He knows the narrative that has surrounded him. All right? So in addition to all of us who are watching, saying and thinking that had to be swirling around in his head.
Sure.
Not even just in the back of his mind, but maybe in the front of his mind. So with all of that going on, it was a real gut check moment. It's like, is this really who I am? Just a guy that can play against tomato cans? Or can I really deliver against the big teams in the big moments?
Yeah.
And so I think with all of that going on, for him to do what he did and turn it around that way, I thought it was great. Now, I'm not saying he's about to be a Hall of Fame or anything. I'm just saying he stepped up huge in a big moment. And I do think, Nick, you had the numbers up there. In overtime, he was 5 for 6, 49 yards. Obviously, the touchdown, the 2-point conversion.
He was good in
game.
overtime.
Huge
I
game.
do not think he was good in the comeback. And
I think so.
That touchdown pass wasn't bad. Obviously, Rashid Shaheed was saved him.
The Rashid,
but then he picked it up.
Shaheed saved him. The part of the comeback was a terrible pass on a 2-point conversion that got batted down. And listen, I will give him credit for the touchdown pass prior to the 2-point conversion, but that was more about, as they showed on the broadcast, the tight end's route and a coverage bust and him being wide open. And I feel like his coach was telling us during the comeback he had lost faith in him, understandably. Here's a play on 3rd and 10 in a tie game with 4 minutes left, where to me, Mike McDonald is saying, if we run the video, I do not believe that's, or 3rd and 7. Sam Darnold can be trusted to throw the ball down the field right now. In overtime, he came through with some great plays, Brew, where I will meet you halfway is this. I think he now has a chance to change the narrative. But to me, and I know we throw around terms as if they have real definitions on the show when we made them up. But like I had said a few weeks ago, Darnold to me is not a pumpkin mode candidate. Pumpkin mode to me implies a player who's not that good, who is playing at a high level, who will eventually regress. And I think Darnold has proven he is good. So I don't think pumpkin mode is what we were, even when we were talking about with Darnold.
It's only been 2 years, or what?
Right, but it's also just been big moments. It's more gets tight against the best opponents in big moments. Not that all of a sudden he's going to go back to being go Sam Darnold.
At the risk of being argumentative, going pumpkin is what you're referring to. Going pumpkin. A guy comes back down. Pumpkin mode.
Fair enough. All right. So maybe that's the distinction. But I watched this game like everyone did, and for the first 3.5 quarters, said, this sucks so much for the Seahawks.
Right.
They are such an excellent team that they now know that our quarterback is going to play his worst ball in our biggest moments and will have no reason to have any faith come the playoffs. The hope for Seattle would be his own, because that usually, if a guy gets tight in big spots, I understand you've talked about, against good teams versus bad teams. I have more focused on the super high leverage games, which always do come against good teams, where I just feel like he has been unsure of himself and not played with a level of confidence. That's usually a mental thing. And I will be open to the possibility this game, that overtime, what Rashid Shaheed bought him with the opportunity to make up for those picks, changed the trajectory of this season. So I don't think that he, for me at least, changed the narrative, but the overtime gives him the opportunity to change the narrative because I think the Seattle team is exceptional. I think the Rams are the best team in football, and they have played the Rams once. Darnold melted down. They almost won. They played the Rams again. Darnold was awful for 3.5 quarters. They won anyway. And so does the distinction I'm drawing make sense to you, Brew?
Yeah, but what do you think about him? Because I actually think they went into the game, the coaching staff, having question marks about
Correct. They were just running the ball.
Because they only threw 6 times in the first half. And then in the second half, it got away from them. They had to pass the ball.
Right.
And so they did it. But you don't think the players in that locker room, the coaches, feel a lot better about him? I mean, in a boxing analogy, he was getting beat around the ring. And then he had to look in the mirror and say, okay, what am I made of? And I think he rose to the occasion.
So hold on. You said, oh, yeah. Can we stay here just for another second? Mm-hmm. I think what you asked there is a very interesting question. Do his teammates and coaches feel better about Sam Darnold today than they did 24 hours ago right now? Because if they do, to me, that means going into the game that they had all of the deep concerns we do. And if you watch that game, like when they do, rewatch as a team, when they go over the film, don't you think they're going to see for 85% of that game a Sam Darnold that they've only ever seen one other time this year, the other Rams game, and that is.
But you can't act like the rest of the game doesn't matter. In fact, to me, that makes it more impressive that he came back for it. Because you're right, it is a mental thing at times. And that's what the hump he had to get over was mental, and he did.
I agree that it makes it more impressive. I guess the point that I am trying to make, and maybe I'm making it poorly, is that game as a whole yesterday did not give me more confidence that in the next playoff type game they play, whether that's week 18 against the Niners, maybe with the 1 seed on the line, or in the actual playoffs, that we're going to get the overtime Sam Darnold versus the first 3.5 quarters Sam Darnold.
But it's certainly more likely than it was if he had lost the game, right?
Right, but you guys aren't. What if he just had? You guys, to me, you guys are not thinking about the possibility of what if he just had a. I think the better thing would have been a normal game. Where he doesn't.
I don't.
So that's where we're disagreeing.
I think he needed to show that he could
play that poorly and then do it.
I mean, you never want him to play poorly, but the ability to come back from the terrible game he was having, I think that's impressive.
Okay.
And here's look, going into their first playoff game, I will not say. I don't trust Sam Darnold. Ooh, now I'm not saying I will not. I will not.
I just don't think it's binary.
But let me finish.
Yeah.
I will not be like, oh, Darnold's going to be great. I'm just saying I won't expect 3 or 4 interceptions like I probably would have before. Okay. Had he not turned that around, I'd have been like, they're done. He's probably going to throw 2-3 picks in their first playoff game. Right, but what would your
expectations have been if they had won the game 24-21 with Darnold throwing no picks and, not a game-winning touchdown?
I'd have been like,
That's
okay,
probably, that's
maybe,
not him, though. That's that graphic that Josh had. He has no passer ratings in the 90s.
Right.
That's not him. There was a shot of him on the sidelines. It almost looked like he was reading Twitter, and he took a deep breath. He's like, it was a good job by the production team. Then he came out and threw that easy 2-point conversion. I was like, oh, that's good for his confidence. I bet he starts cooking. Then he turned it around. Like, look, he was 0-3 against the Rams. They were averaging as a team 16 points. They put up 38.
Yeah.
I think you got to feel pretty good.
Okay.
Played like a stud. Seattle and Carolina next Sunday. On the other side, weird game for the Rams, though. Firmly in control. Stafford was amazing. 457. Puka had 225, 2 touchdowns, and another apology post-game, this time for criticizing the refs again. Okay. Nick, this is your squad. They're currently the 5th seed. Are you at all worried?
I think they're the best team in the NFL. But that is a horrendous, lingering, painful loss that I am of the belief that if you are a team that has a real shot and real expectation to win the Super Bowl, maybe this is bad for the show at times because I am so focused on the playoffs, that the entire purpose of the regular season is simple, binary, set yourself up for the postseason as well as possible. That is for teams that are building or young or, new coach, whatever. But for a team like the Rams or the Eagles or the Chiefs this year, it didn't work out for the Bills. It is as simple as healthy as possible, best path, best seed for the postseason. And the Rams had it all done. They are up 16 points with the added benefit of they are going to absolutely own the Seahawks and their quarterback mentally, who I think is the second best team in the conference. If they were to play again, everything was rolling, and then a cascade of errors, some unlucky, i.e. the 2-point conversion, some unforced, i.e. what I thought was Sean McVay not understanding in overtime that a tie for them was almost the exact same as a win, which should have adjusted his overtime strategy.
A tie for them was
a tie for them because then they have the head-to-head with Seattle. So it's this because it's 1-0-1. Right. For Seattle, a tie was no good. For the Rams,
but you wanted them to go for 2?
The Rams on their touchdown, 100%. Because at that point, the question you're asking yourself, if Seattle doesn't score a touchdown, it's moot anyway. So you need to be asking yourself, do we have a better chance of getting a 2-point conversion or stopping a 2-point conversion? And when you have moved the ball at will all game, I would have gone for it. But it wasn't just that. It was to Sean McVay, after being so aggressive in the first half, got conservative in the fourth quarter. They had so many opportunities to essentially lock up the 1 seed and not give Darnold the chance for this redemption where we are all talking, they're dead, you can't trust him, and they blew it. And so I still like their chances because I think they are the best team, but they are now likely going to be on the road the whole time. They are likely not going to get a round 1 bye, and that takes them from, to me, where they were, going to be overwhelming favorites for the NFC to the best team, but I don't even know if they're favorites. And so I think it is a devastating loss.
They're still alive. I don't know who the freaking best team in the NFL is. I don't know that there is one. There are usually years where it's like 2 teams, maybe, certainly when the Chiefs have won it, where, okay, they look like the best team. It's wide open, man. It is wide open. And they're one of the teams that has a shot. But I don't see how you can say they're like definitively the best team in the NFC. Seattle, if I'm Seattle, I'm thinking we got them. We turned the ball over 4 times the last time we played them. Our quarterback was horrible, and they beat us by 2 in their building.
But why would you
We just turned the ball over 3 times last night. They turned it over, didn't turn it over at all. And we came back and beat them. Like, the turnover ratio in this series between these two teams this year is 7-1. And yet it was a split. And the game they won by 2 points. So I don't see how the Rams are sitting there thinking, we got Seattle. Like, Seattle should feel like we can beat the Rams if we just play clean football. Because we have them in every other area.
But don't you think that the Rams look at it like those aren't unforced turnovers? It's our defense forcing Sam Darnold into mistakes. Yeah.
I think some of it's Sam Darnold making mistakes too. Like I think it's always kind of the team that turns it over and the good defense. But the thing about, because they're likely to be the 5th seed, maybe lower. There have only been 2 wild card teams to reach the Super Bowl in the last 15 years, and it was Aaron Rodgers in 2010. Mm-hmm. Both of them won the Super Bowl, and Brady in 2020. Those are obviously 2 all-time greats, and Stafford will be a Hall of Famer as well. But that's how tough the path is, and in a conference where everybody's kind of bunched together and you can make an argument for several teams that they're the best. I think that's going to be tough for them.
And listen, I want to make it clear. I don't think they're dead for the 1 seed. They have Atlanta and Arizona left. Mm-hmm. So they
should win out.
Right, they should win out, and then we'll see what happens with San Francisco. We're going to talk about in a moment. And then Seattle. And San Francisco obviously has a very tough schedule the rest of the way. I don't want to spend too much time on it because Wilds will get annoyed. I really think Sean McVay failing to recognize, even on their final drive of regulation, that a tie for us is totally fine, cost them. Like on that final drive of regulation, if he would have known that we are spending the clock here is as big of a priority as moving the ball into field goal range, I think he would have, after the holding penalty, which killed him, he would have adjusted things differently. That if they tied yesterday, then all they have to do to lock up the 1 is what we just said we think they're going to do. Beat Atlanta and beat Arizona. Their path is the exact same with a tie or a win. And I think McVay, to me, it felt like most of us thought when they went up 16 points, the game is over. And then the punt return hit them in the face, and then all of a sudden they're going 3 and out again, and it's like, oh my God, we're in a fight again. And there were some unlucky parts. The illegal man downfield taking a touchdown off the board, that was unlucky. The kicker that hasn't missed all year, having a kick that looked 80% of the way into the kick. It was like, oh, that's going to make, and it missed. That's unlucky. But it's really, really hard to win the Super Bowl, and the Rams, I think you would have agreed.
Their special teams are a little shaky, too, obviously.
They would have been, while you're saying there is no best team in the league right now, if the game had gone the way it looked like it was going at the 8-minute mark of the 4th quarter, you would feel like this team is clearly the best team in the NFL.
You're higher on the Rams than I am. I think they're good. I think they're a contender, but I'm not as high as you guys on the Rams. I think what you do like in the NFC playoffs is they got the best quarterback in the conference.
Yes.
So that's something good.
With the Seahawks win, the 49ers now control their own destiny to the 1 seed. The bye, 2 home playoff games, and a home Super Bowl. Remaining games at Colts, home against the Bears, and then home against the Seahawks. Have we been sleeping on your Niners and Brock Purdy / Mac Jones, bro?
Not we.
Bro, you haven't.
I've been trying to get the Niners in the show for weeks.
When? You've been trying to get Brock Purdy in the show.
Who's he play for? We're not talking Brock Purdy without talking Niners, all right? You two have been comatose on the Niners.
What's Mac Jones left?
You only want to talk Niners if it's Mac Jones or if Brock Purdy throws 3 interceptions or it's bad. But Purdy's been good.
You might be right.
So we don't even mention the Niners.
And they have been playing tomato cans, so it's just like,
Well, they've beaten Seattle. Are they a tomato can?
Drew, that was week 1. We did talk about it. Brew, we talked
Week
about
one
it.
doesn't matter?
No, it does, but you can't say
Yeah, we
didn't
talked about it because you guys thought
the-
Brock struggled,
But
and
it-
I said, but he threw.
Bro,
that was- it was
his
hot.
mobility
Bro.
enabled him
Bro,
to get
we
room
remember.
and throw the
We
game-winning
don't have to
touchdown.
relitigate it. We're just Wilds was saying we haven't talked about them because they're beating tomato cans,
like, oh,
and then you're like they beat Seattle, but we did talk about it when that happened. It was labor.
But he said it's week one.
Yeah.
That doesn't
No,
count.
it
No, but
counts,
that's
but
why
we
we
talked
haven't
about
talked
it.
about them
Put
recently.
the Niners schedule up so
They
we
beat
can
the
show
Rams.
that we talked about it.
Yes, we did.
I'm not sure we did. They beat the Rams. They beat the Rams. And look, you play who's in front of you.
Sorry, we wanted to
All
do
right?
a long. You wanted to do 10 minutes.
Now,
on,
I will say
the
this.
Titans and the Browns.
They had a bye. They had the Titans game. The Brown Brew.
Hold
Brock's
on.
been back.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The Browns, the Titans, whoever you want to throw in. What if Brock Purdy had struggled?
Well, that's news.
Yes, that's
how you know how news
works.
That's news?
Yes.
Man bites dog.
Several
Dog bites
quarterbacks
man.
struggle every
Right,
week.
Bro.
Do we talk about all of them? I'm
Against the
serious.
Titans,
He
yeah.
is the starter. Period. The
I know,
end.
bro.
But why are we talking about
Okay.
him if he struggles if we know he's the starter?
They are 5 wins away from the Super Bowl. If they would, so are you ready to get?
And
I'm excited.
am
for
I
the-
ready to say they're going to win
No,
the
you
Super
don't have.
Bowl?
I'm not talking. It was a big shock to me where I was like, we're in Sam Darnold world last night after the
Yeah.
win,
And that they
I started
also
to see
control their own
Like, oh,
destiny.
they can
Both
win out,
both
get a
teams do.
bye, and beat their last home game is in Indianapolis theoretically, and they could just or last away game. Then they just stay at home all the
Well,
way to raising the trophy.
look,
on the board.
I think they are, like I said, I think the NFC is wide open. I do think there are teams better than I think Philadelphia. I mean, we'll see. We're going to find out how good they are.
Yeah.
We're about to find out because they got Indianapolis, which still isn't just a cakewalk. Then Chicago and
Starting
Seattle.
a grandfather at quarterback.
No, it's the last
but
2
it's-
weeks.
but-
This week,
and I'm not. They should win this, but I'm
week,
just
and then
saying.
the next 2
Indy's
weeks are
been
huge
all right.
games.
Yeah, so we are going to find. They're not my pick in the NFC. You know, I got Green Bay, but we're gonna find out just how good they are.
Well, here's what I do.
And
think.
I'm sure if Brock will struggle, he'll be.
Here's what I do think.
And in the East too. for you
We've
guys.
been sleeping on. Christian McCaffrey's just having an all-time season.
Yeah.
all time.
Bro.
I think that's a little much.
Bro,
but he's-
hold on.
He's
hold on.
averaging 3
Bro,
yards.
Wait,
a
can
carry.
I?
He's playing well. But go ahead.
Let me
But
just tell you why. Let me tell you why I think, and I think you'll agree with me, Brew. He is right now on pace to have 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. That has been done by Roger Craig in 1985, Marshall Faulk in 1999, Christian McCaffrey in 2019, and that's the list. So by definition, if he has 1,000, that's an all-time season, right? Like I think you'd agree with me that is we've only seen it done 3 times in NFL history.
We've been expecting him to.
And he is leading
Slow
to
down.
he has not been as on a per carry basis, having maybe the worst year of his career or something like that. It's 3.6. His touches, he leads the NFL in touches by a mile. He is 3rd in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. He is 3rd in the NFL in touchdowns. He is 12th in the NFL in targets with more than A.J. Brown. He is 6th in the NFL in catches with more than everyone other than Puka, Trey McBride, JSN, Jamar Chase, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has been the offense.
If you're a running back, I want you. I mean, your main thing is running the football. He's been great. Don't get me wrong. I just bristle when you say all-time season. Is Bijan Robinson having an all-time season? He's got more yards from scrimmage than him.
I think the 1,000.
I'd rather you have 1,500 and 500. 1,500 from Saquon's season last year was much better.
Oh, yes, but that was an all-time great season.
But 1,000 is
Old
2,000.
school.
I mean, I'm saying all the yards for a running back are not created equal. If you're a running back, I'd rather most of your yards come off tackle.
We got to go. First things first, bowl part 4. Patriots at Ravens Sunday night. Drake Maye looking to avoid losing back-to-back games. Lamar looking to build on his best passer rating since
How you got all these
Halloween
great
Eve.
graphics and I'm just still.
You have a whole. We hire several groups of people for you.
It feels biased.
I made a neutral graphic for us, okay? Even though this is a heated battle for the left side of the desk. Drake Maye versus Lamar, common opponents. Record similar, team points similar, completion percentage goes to Drake.
That's interesting.
Total yards goes to Drake. Touchdowns 12-5, 15-7 passer rating. These common opponents are Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. Now the caveat here is the bulk of Lamar's damage were the Bills early on. Bills, Browns, and then the Dolphins when he came back. So he's been in a bit of a slump. But overall, those are our common opponents. So who do you trust?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, we know how poorly Lamar's played for several weeks. I'm surprised they're that close. But look, Drake's had a better season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I will go with Lamar just because of his pedigree. And just because his highs are incredibly high. And I thought he was good last week. So if he had continued to struggle last week, I probably wouldn't feel as confident, but I still might go with him just because of his pedigree. And we saw yesterday he was, talked to reporters. Seems like he's fine as far as, illness or anything. So I would trust Lamar. I won't be shocked if Drake plays better and Lamar struggles again, but I'm going with Lamar. And here's the thing. Drake, as great as he's been, he hasn't played MVP level ball against the teams that are in the playoff race. Alive are the teams that are in the playoff hunt, and eliminated is obviously eliminated. His numbers against the teams that are alive are solid, but it's not the MVP candidate that he is against the teams that are eliminated. So obviously the Ravens are still one of those teams that are alive, and so he probably, at least according to this, won't be as good as he typically has.
You got an issue with that graphic, kid?
I mean, it's just facts, but.
No, I mean, it's a little bit of the same bit of a twist. We destroyed the Panthers by so much. I think Drake didn't really have to throw the ball. I think our Panthers numbers are
That benefits him because his passer rating was like 155.
Okay.
I think
it's like when we talk about Josh's MVP candidacy against the Jets. He didn't have to do anything, and they won by 40 points.
But maybe you're the reason you got a huge lead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm with Brew on this one. I trust Lamar.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I trust Lamar. There was one throw that I saw in that game against Cincy, that touchdown throw down the sideline to Zay Flowers, him making that throw and being on point with that ball.
I didn't like that throw.
You did?
I thought it was an interceptable ball. But maybe I defer to you, but I thought that was up for grabs.
So I like that throw because those are the types of throws, and that's how accurate Lamar has been when he has been good, when he has been MVP level Lamar. And what we had come to see in the last few weeks wasn't those types of throws. Him being more hesitant, him airing balls over his receivers and just missing. When he made that throw, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, Lamar's back. I believed again. It was like, you know what? Okay, he's getting healthier. He's going to make a stretch run. And I just know with him, you talk about pedigree, I'm just going to go off sheer ability and what we've seen. Lamar Jackson in the regular season is typically really good. Now, he had not been up to that point, but Cincinnati had beat them a few weeks before. He had struggled. Then he goes there and actually plays really well, albeit 8 for 12, only 150 yards, but it was still impressive. They got their running game back. I just believe in what I've seen out of Lamar in that game, and I haven't seen Drake in this position yet.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think it's obviously Drake Maye. And
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think Drake Maye has been demonstrably better this season.
Of course.
I think that Drake Maye is the healthier quarterback. I think Drake Maye's also on the better team and the better situation and like all of those things. I also think, and this is, I think, maybe the more controversial opinion of it, I maybe should have said this at the beginning, I think moving forward, I just probably trust Drake Maye more than Lamar Jackson.
Wow, for the rest of their careers?
I think that Drake Maye, I said this 2 months ago that I thought Drake Maye, or a month and a half ago, was for me when I'm doing like the quarterback top fives, I've got to find a spot for Drake Maye, that I believe in the player that year. And I think that there are some concerning signs for Lamar that the best football from him is he's not going to quite reach that height again. And I think he's going to deal with a coaching change this offseason. I think he's going to deal with a coordinator change this offseason. I think the fact that Lamar Jackson seems to have stopped utilizing his legs as such a dynamic weapon not only makes him easier to defend and less of a threat running the ball, obviously, but I think it's impacted his passing. And so for all the, I need to see how Drake plays in a postseason game in a big spot. Sure. But when I'm evaluating this, that's not like a positive check for Lamar when I'm evaluating him as his postseason play. And so it matters maybe a little less in this comparison. I think Drake Maye is right now, this moment for this season, the better player. And I think that Drake Maye next year will be better than he was this year. And I don't know what direction Lamar Jackson is going to be going. And I don't know what the coaching change that I anticipate is coming will impact on him. So
is that's based on basically that 5-game stretch?
Has to be.
Which wasn't like he had the 1 or 2 games that were horrible.
Here it is, Lamar this season, Brew. Yeah. First 5 games versus last.
First 5 games.
6. First 5 games, he was amazing. The last 6.
That wasn't that long ago.
I mean, it's 6 games.
No, I'm saying to say like
the first 5 games was not that on the calendar that long ago.
Yeah, you seem to think there's.
That's what
I think he's
that's
just
my
hurt.
point.
You think he might be hurt.
Like to think he's taking
that's
a
the part
turn.
that I'm a little taken aback from. You think this is who he's going to be moving forward?
I probably have not been, of the 4 of us, certainly of the 3 of Brew, Wilds, me, and I think probably the 4 of us, Brew, Wilds, Greg, me, I've probably always been the least agog at Lamar. I think that they have done he has done a really, really good job over the course of his career of improving what was once a weakness and turning it into a strength as far as his ability to just scan the field and throw from the pocket. But I have never felt like Lamar in gotta-have-it passing situations the way I feel about a bunch of other quarterbacks. The other guys that are clearly in that top, the quarterback Mount Rushmore, I was always trying to put Stafford in there. Now it seems because of the year he's had, he's going to be in there. I think Drake's going to be in there. And if I am correct in that the biggest change of Lamar, over the last few years is his hesitancy to run with the ball, I don't think he's going to put up those types of prolific passing numbers moving forward. You then add to it that I don't think he is I know people hate to hear it, but a big game quarterback. I just don't. Who would I rather have moving forward? Drake Maye. Who do I trust more this weekend? Drake Maye. Who do I think's had the better season? Drake Maye. Who do I think will be better next season? Drake Maye.
Passing offense, Patriots are 6th, 241 yards a game. The Ravens are 27th. Under 180, a little bit of Lamar.
I mean, Drake this year will pass for more yards than Lamar's passed for in any year of his career,
but Drake hasn't been close to Lamar at his height. Not close.
No. I mean,
now I get it.
Nobody has.
Year.
No,
I'm saying I get it. It's his 2nd year and he'll likely improve. But this has not been close to Lamar.
No, Lamar's
Jackson.
MVP year 2 years ago, or you could even say last year's higher than Drake this year.
Arrowhead Invitational, it is not. Chiefs field goal favorites over Cam Ward and the 2-win Titans in Tennessee. Here's the current draft order. This hurts.
It doesn't hurt.
Giants, Raiders, Titans, Browns, Jets, Cardinals, Saints, Commanders, Bengals, Falcons, Dolphins, and then finally the Chiefs.
That Falcons pick, as it says there, is not the Falcons pick. That's the Rams pick.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
How much will we learn about the Chiefs on Sunday?
I think we're going to learn a lot of how much Mahomes was scotch taping together last month. Even though they were losing, the offense didn't work. I know that it seems like the offense was bad the last few weeks since they lost both tackles, the right guard, then their backup tackles, and dealt with the what I considered an odd wide receiver regression. I think you're about to see actually what a bad offense looks like. I think that the Chiefs are going to lose this weekend. I think that the offense is going to struggle. You're going to see what listen, Gardner Minshew is a fine backup, but he's a backup quarterback.
He's a good backup.
As far as backup quarterbacks, he's good, but there's a reason he's not a starter. So I'm not saying what we see Sunday is if the Chiefs had an average starting quarterback. I understand Gardner Minshew's not that, but you're going to see what the total lack of any running threat does to most offenses. And then when you add to it that because of the last month of offensive line injuries, everything has to be fast coming out of the quarterback's hands. I think the Chiefs are going to, on Sunday, look, and you add the motivational gap as far as where games they've been playing to this, I think they're going to look like one of the worst teams in the NFL on Sunday.
Jeez, that's quite a fall.
I think emotionally I think there's a real emotional from playing in nothing but playoff games to being eliminated, Patrick being out there to Patrick not being out there, all the injuries, I think all of that. I don't think that is who the team would be if it was week 1 of the season, with this roster and all of that. Right. But I think all of that in one big stew is going to lead to a team that I think is going to struggle to get to 10 points.
Well, that's the I expect them to win. And I'm basing a lot of this on what Kelsey said on his podcast of we're going out, we only know how to play one way. And I get it. Maybe that's just talk. Yep. I think he certainly is going to show up. These maybe the last 3 games of his career. And I just think you're right. The emotional letdown has to be huge. They're human beings. But I think they're going to, if you know this, Greg, better than any of us, you can't go out there and play football half speed. And I'm not saying that's purposely what they're going to do. But if you're on that field, then you better show up. And so I think, I'm not saying they're going to blow out the Titans. I think they'll win anywhere between 7 and 14 points or something like that. But I expect them to win and show the heart of a champion.
Look, I agree with you a lot as it pertains to Patrick Mahomes and what he is to this team and what he's been able to mask and cover up. Totally agree with you. I don't think they go out here and lose. I think you see a team that hasn't been in this situation before and will still play with a tremendous amount of pride because of who they are and because the guy that won't be there able to play that has always been more than what we can probably ever know and we might see on Sunday. They got to show up. If for nothing else, for the idea that if Patrick Mahomes was any way possible able to play, he would give it everything that he got. You don't lay down when you have somebody on your team like that is injured and no longer can provide his services. So I think, to your point, listening to what Kelsey said, they will show up for the love of the game is what we kind of identify, how we identify.
So I just want to make it real clear. I think what you're describing very well might apply to the Chiefs' defense. I think the Chiefs' offense, I am not worried about them, mailing it in. I simply think that Rashee Rice out with a concussion, you are starting your 5th and 6th tackles. You have no threat of a running game whatsoever. I just don't think, I think even with them trying their best, they are going, and Gardner Minshew's your quarterback.
Shador lit up the Titans.
Right.
I understand that. I'm telling you, I do not think they are going to be able to move the ball with any consistency.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.